Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. One way to get people to stop talking about Andrew is to involve Nazis. An ITV News investigation has uncovered that a 26-year-old from Leicestershire and former Buckingham Palace warden led a double life as a key figure in Britain's neo-Nazi movement. While employed at the palace, welcoming guests and working in close proximity to the royal family's state rooms, the man is said to have secretly served as chief propagandist for far-right organisations Active Club England and Vanguard Britannica. Both groups are part of a growing international white supremacist network. Operating under the pseudonym John, the man produced propaganda, photography and artwork for extremist groups while promoting the racist Great Replacement theory. In interviews with ITV News, he described himself as an ethnocentrist, claiming to advocate for the interests of my people. After leaving the Royal Service last year, John travelled to Texas in September, where he represented a British delegation at the inaugural conference of the US neo-fascist group Patriot Front. When confronted by ITV News, John appeared startled before attempting to justify his beliefs. He admitted working for the royal family, but said his employers don't tend to ask questions about the personal political views of their members. Buckingham Palace said it takes such matters extremely seriously, but declined to comment on individual security issues. King Charles shared a heartfelt embrace with 105-year-old Second World War veteran Janvar Abbas during a reception honouring veterans at Windsor Castle. Mr. Abbas, who fought the original Nazis, served as a combat cameraman in the British Army and first met the King and Queen Camilla earlier this year at a remembrance service in Staffordshire. At that event, he gave an emotional speech thanking the couple for attending despite the King's ongoing cancer treatment, a moment that brought both Charles and Camilla to tears. Reunited at Windsor, the pair exchanged a few warm words before hugging. I told him, "We can't go on meeting like this," Mr. Abbas joked afterwards. "I was very much looking forward to meeting him again. I have a lot of respect for His Majesty, not just as a monarch, but as a human being. It's wonderful to meet him and to know that he is improving, because I had cancer and I got rid of it. It's been rid of for 15 years now." Following the war, he became a filmmaker and used his platform to honour those who risked their lives in conflict. Speaking at Windsor, he paid tribute to journalists killed in Gaza, saying, "Whatever I did, it's insignificant when I see what the men and women of Gaza have done for more than 2 years. They have been recording the genocide that has been visited upon them." Asked what message he would give to younger generations, the veteran's tone turned sombre. "I am angry with the world and I am ashamed." He said, "I thought I fought a war to have a better world, and I find that I am in a worse world than I was in at the time." In the New York Times, Russ Douthit asks, what if the monarchy went out with a bang? Douthit wrote about the Norwegian rebels, which we covered in Season 1 of our feed, currently labelled Crown and Controversy Prince Andrew. You can find that podcast wherever you get your podcast, but the first season is about the Norwegian rebels. Just scroll down and you'll see distinct episode art that will show you which ones are the Norway episodes. But Douthit writes, "My real sympathy descended on Martha Louise, who, like various equivalents in the more famous House of Windsor, has spent her life as a royal sibling, bouncing from public spectacle to public tragedy and back, enduring the most profound failure of the purely ceremonial monarchy, its inability to figure out what to do with royals who aren't the king or queen. That failure is also relevant to the peculiar position of Prince Andrew, or Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as we are supposed to call him after the stripping of his legal rank amid a new wave of Jeffrey Epstein coverage. One can be confident in Andrew's guilt in some form and still find it striking that the king's own brother could lose all his titles without ever being convicted of any crime. The last residue of absolute monarchical power, it turns out, is the power to punish one of your own potential heirs without a trial. Nonetheless, I wonder if before history's curtain falls on the ceremonial style of monarchy, we will eventually see some unexpected attempt at a genuine coup de main. Some crowned monarch bringing back the controversies of the 17th century by trying to exert real power once again, or some younger son or daughter trying to play real politics in that old 14th century style. It seems improbable. More likely, surely, Andrew's sad exit is the model for a future when entire British monarchy ends with a whimper, with all the Mountbatten Windsors slinking away into a cushy private life. But I do think the likely nature of that end looks different today than it might have in 1970 or 2000. Back then, monarchy would have seemed most likely to be abolished amid a surge of modernizing sentiment as an expression of vaulting confidence in the liberal democratic future. Now, though, I tend to agree with the British writer Will Lloyd, whose recent blast against the British throne in The New Statesman compares Charles III to Franz Joseph, the aged Habsburg emperor who presided over Austria-Hungary before its demolition in the First World War. His point being that today's Britain is in deepening trouble, economically and socially and spiritually, and the British monarchy seems increasingly likely to perish as part of a larger national crack-up when ethnic tensions and native versus immigrant conflicts and regional separatism leave nothing for a ceremonial monarch to preside over. Monarchy survived the 20th century by making its peace with liberalism and making its unruly members an anachronism. But in a post-liberal era, that unruliness might yet be a political virtue, or if not quite that, at least a way to close out the books of kings with a bang. More Palace in just a moment. Prince Harry's phone hacking lawsuit against the publisher of the Daily Mail has been thrown into turmoil after a key witness dramatically withdrew his previous testimony, claiming it was forged. Private investigator Gavin Burrows now insists that a 2021 witness statement, one that appeared to admit to extensive illegal surveillance on behalf of Associated Newspapers, was complete rubbish and not written or signed by him. In a new 30-page statement prepared with independent legal counsel, Burrows says the earlier document bears a forged signature and contains language completely inconsistent with his own. The disputed statement had played a central role in prompting several of the claimants, including Prince Harry and Sir Elton, to pursue legal action against the publisher. The group alleges that the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday engaged in systemic privacy breaches, from phone tapping and vehicle bugging to obtaining confidential information by deception. Associated Newspapers has denied all wrongdoing. Burrows now asserts that he never worked for the Mail on Sunday or Daily Mail, apart from a single legitimate inquiry involving Sir Richard Branson. He claims that journalist Graham Johnson, who has a prior conviction for phone hacking, and paralegal Dan Waddle encouraged him to cooperate in an investigation targeting the Daily Mail, offering him payment for statements. Burrows alleges that Johnson referred to the litigation as a gravy train that newspapers would pay to escape. He further claims he was introduced to solicitor Anjali Sangani, who represents several of the celebrity claimants, and that she visited his home with gifts and promises of a £5,000 monthly retainer for minimal work. Burrows also recounts meeting barrister David Sherborne, who leads Prince Harry's legal team, during discussions about surveillance techniques and fees. Following Burrows' recantation, the claimants no longer plan to call him as a witness and may instead rely on hearsay evidence about his prior statements. In The Royalist, Tom Sykes writes, "I've always felt that the problem with Prince Harry's big phone hacking case against the publisher of the Daily Mail, which is set for a blockbuster courtroom showdown in January, is that so many of the characters involved seem to be shady private investigators or admitted phone hackers themselves, now claiming to have seen the light." And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Come say hi and leave us a nice review if you're enjoying the show. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.